Hey guys, welcome to the line change. Starting this a little bit early, but I wanted to do the post-game show for the Vancouver Canucks versus the St. Louis Blues. I know a lot of Canucks fans right now are, feeling the blues after this game. I will preface by saying I did not actually watch the game, despite it being on Amazon Prime. I was actually napping when the game happened. For those of you that may not know, I Canuck Clay ended up having his 24-hour live stream. I ended up staying up for 23 out of those 24 hours to watch it. So I ended up actually going down for a nap, probably about the same time that Clay did. I ended up having a 5-hour nap, so I kind of missed most of the game. And then I had Thanksgiving dinner, so I actually did not watch the game, but I did see the highlights and whatnot. So before we dive into our post-game show, I'm going to thank my sponsor, GasJack Art, maker of this fine artwork you see behind my shoulder here. And you guys can check them out yourselves at gasjackart.com. So let's start and go ahead and dive into this game. I have some notes here. And actually, let's just go over the actual goals to start. I will break it down period by period. As you can see there, obviously the St. Louis Blues win 5-2 over the Vancouver Canucks. Canucks fans, as I mentioned, feeling the blues after this game. Scoring started off with Jimmy Snuggerud scoring the first goal of the game at 8 minutes and 48 seconds of the first period. Let's take a look at the goal. See, bringing it down there. Down, pass over. Around the boards, and then right out in front, and then the puck goes into the net. So that was the lone goal of the first period. Actually, let's take a look at the shots for that first period. Were 12-8 in favor of St. Louis. So once again, a recurring theme that I actually put down in my notes. Canucks once again get outshot in the first period. So, and yeah, as I mentioned, it's becoming a recurring theme for the Canucks. Consistently getting outshot. It was a similar thing last year, and we're seeing it again this year. So there's that. Let's move down to the next goal. Scored by Brayden Schenn at 2 minutes and 10 seconds to make it 2-0. Assisted by Jordan Kyrou and Philip Broberg. Taking a look at it here. Puck moves around the net. Pass up to, I believe that's Kyrou. Has a chance, and then Brayden Schenn rips it and gets it past Lankinen. And then the Canucks actually managed to get on the board. It's Kiefer Sherwood. Scores his second of the season, assisted by Ratu and Arshdeep Bains at 5 minutes and 33 seconds on a backhand. Let's go ahead and go to the visualizer and see this. There's Sherwood right there. Pass down to Bains. Pass over to Ratu, who passes it back to Sherwood, who backhands it into the net, past Pennington. That made it 2-1. And then moving down, Jimmy Snuggerud would score again to make it 3-1. St. Louis at 8 minutes and 13 seconds, assisted by Bujanevich and Brayden Schenn. Take a look at the goal visualizer. Pass up, down, behind the net there. Myers gives it away, and then boom, there's Snuggerud to bury it. And then Sherwood would get the game within one, scoring a beautiful shorthanded goal, unassisted at 12 minutes and 12 seconds. See on the visualizer here, Brayden Schenn has the puck, and then Sherwood is able to beat out the race for the puck, comes down on a breakaway, and gets it past Pennington. Beautiful goal. Sherwood had a monster of a game. Tonight, he seemed actually to be the only one who actually showed up. But moving down, then you had Nick Bukestad scoring to make it 4-2, assisted by Walker and Texier at 13 minutes and 45 seconds. Let's take a look at the visualizer. Quinn Hughes here with the puck. A bad breakout. St. Louis brings it up the ice. Cross-ice pass, and then the puck goes into the net. So a tough break for the Canucks. Speaking of the game tonight, Canucks had a lot of giveaways, which appeared to be, their kryptonite here tonight. Moving on to the third period, Jake Neighbors would score into an empty net. We don't really need to see that on the visualizer. But let's move back up to the game stats. End of the game, shots were 35-29 in favor of St. Louis. Canucks had a better face-off percentage at a 52.2% to St. Louis's 47.8%. Once again, power play didn't show up at all, which has been a recurring theme over these last 3 games. Penalty minutes were 6 for the Canucks and only 2 for the Blues. So the Blues only had 1 penalty while the Canucks had 3. Hits were 29-22 in favor of Vancouver. Block shots were 17 even. And then we get down to the giveaways. There were 24 giveaways for the Canucks. I saw that Quinn Hughes had 3 of those giveaways, which is not a good look for the Canucks. And then St. Louis had 16 giveaways. And then it was 8-6 when it comes to takeaways. St. Louis with 8 and the Canucks with 6. And yeah, that is pretty much the game. But looking back to my notes, as I mentioned already, Kiefer Sherwood had a great game, 2 goals. So now he's up to 3 goals on the season. Obviously, there was a bad turnover from EP40. Obviously, as I mentioned at the top, I did not actually watch the game, but I heard, through Twitter, a lot of people were going after Petey because of a bad turnover. There was also a moment in the game where Petey had an open net, but he elected to pass instead of shoot, something we saw consistently last season, where he decided to pass instead of shoot. Obviously, in this situation, Petey needed to shoot, and he ended up not doing it. As I mentioned already, Canucks got outshot 12-8 in the first, 17-11 in the second. Canucks did outshoot the Blues in the third period, 10-6. Of course, you can't just outshoot your opponent through 20 minutes of hockey. It has to be through the full 60. And also, you can't fault Lankinen for this loss. He didn't have a chance on some of the goals that went in. This was his first game of the season. Obviously, Demko was fantastic through those first 2 games, but you can't fault Lankinen for this, especially when your top guys don't even show up. Speaking of that, top guys not showing up, EP40, as much as it pains me to say, Quinn Hughes, DeBrusk, Besser, nowhere to be seen. I already mentioned the giveaways, 24 by the Canucks. Now I have a question for you guys, the viewers. Should there be cause for concern for the Vancouver Canucks already? That is the big question we're posing. Should there be cause for concern for the Canucks already? Let me know down in the comments down below and give me your take on that. This most certainly should have been a winnable game for the Canucks, and they ended up losing by a score of, 5-2. I actually predicted the Canucks would win 5-0, so I guess that got thrown for a loop. But once again, a lot of Canuck fans are feeling the blues tonight here on Thanksgiving. Not a lot for Canuck fans to be thankful for, but I am trying to stay positive for it. We are, of course, only 3 games into the season. I haven't hit, the alarm yet, so we shall see. But let's take a quick look at some out-of-town scores. While we're here. The Colorado Avalanche defeated the Sabres 3-1. The Tampa Bay Lightning defeated the Bruins 4-3. The Predators defeated the Senators 4-1. The Jets defeated the Islanders 5-2. The Red Wings defeated the Leafs 3-2. The Flyers defeated the Panthers 5-2. That's a little surprising. But my wife will be happy about that. She's a Flyers fan. The Devils defeated the Blue Jackets 3-2. And the Wild defeated the Kings 4-3. And then the Blackhawks defeated the Mammoth 3-1. So that was your out-of-town scores. I'm going to start doing that for my post-game shows, just to give us an idea of what's going on outside of, the Vancouver Canucks realm. But that question I had for you guys is a major one. Are you guys concerned? As I said, let me know in the comment section down below. Are you guys concerned? And obviously a lot of people are, going after Petey for, him not really showing up the last 3 games. Yes, he's got a point. He got that in the home opener, but he's been invisible ever since. I'm not ready to, start firing on all cylinders when it comes to Petey. As I just mentioned, it's only game 3, and I'd much rather wait until it was, maybe later in November, maybe 10 games in, and maybe I might start, being like, okay, we're seeing the Petey of old, or not of old, of last season. But once again, should there be cause for concern for Canucks fans already? Let me know in the comment section down below. Obviously, the next game is against Dallas. You would think Thatcher Demko is most likely going to start that game, considering it is against Dallas. But I also wouldn't be surprised if they wanted to give Demko some extra rest and maybe throw Lankin in there. Let me know in the comment section down below. Who do you think is going to start? Will it be Demko or will it be Lankinen? I could go with either one, but my money is obviously on Demko starting that game against the Stars, considering the Dallas Stars are a very, very good team. Do you think that these woes will continue for the Canucks going into Thursday against the Dallas Stars? Let me know in the comment section down below. And that's actually going to do it for this post-game show. A little bit of a short one. It is Thanksgiving Monday, and I am feeling pretty full from Thanksgiving dinner, but I wanted to do at least give you guys something, a small little post-game show. We'll be back full swing on Thursday as well as Friday for both of those games. We'll have post-game shows for that. Thanks for tuning in, and I'll see you guys in the next video.